In the shadows of World War II, there are stories history books rarely tell, stories that governments tried to silence, stories buried under medals, victories, and patriotic speeches. This is not a tale of generals or soldiers. It is the hidden truth of the women who were forced into the most dehumanizing role of the war. Women who were turned into weapons without consent. Women the world forgot. The prostitutes of World War II. Hello, everyone. I am here to share you the hidden truth about prostitutes during World War II. But before that, please take a moment to like and subscribe my channel. Thank you. When war erupted in 1939, nations mobilized armies, built tanks, and prepared strategies. But behind the battlefields, another system was quietly organized, a system of exploitation. In the occupied territories of Europe, in Asia, and even near Allied camps, women were rounded up, tricked, and sold into what the military politely called comfort stations. But there was nothing comforting about them. They were military brothels, designed to keep soldiers satisfied, obedient, and less likely to rebel. Governments called it a necessity of war. The women called it hell. Imagine being a young girl in Poland, France, Korea, or the Philippines. One day you are walking home, clutching bread for your family. The next you are dragged from your house, told you will work as a nurse, only to be locked in a room where dozens of soldiers line up outside your door. Many of these women were barely 18, some even younger. They weren't prostitutes by choice. They were prisoners of war, enslaved by the very armies that claimed to bring order and liberation. The Japanese Imperial Army created the largest system, infamously known as the Comfort Women Program. Historians estimate that between 200,000 and 400,000 women from Korea, China, the Philippines, Indonesia, and other countries were forced into sexual slavery. They were raped daily, beaten if they resisted, and discarded when they became ill. For decades after the war, survivors lived in silence, too ashamed to speak, while the world conveniently looked away. It wasn't until 1990s, half a century later, that their voices began to break through the silence, demanding recognition. But Japan wasn't alone. The German military also operated brothels across occupied Europe. French women, Polish women, Russian women. Some volunteered out of desperation to feed their families, but many were coerced or threatened. These brothels were not just for soldiers. They were rewards for collaborationists, a way to control occupied populations. And when the war ended, those women were not seen as victims. They were branded as traitors, publicly humiliated, their heads shaved in the streets for sleeping with the enemy, even when they had no choice. Society punished them twice, once during the war and again in peace. The Allies, too, were not innocent. In Italy, in France, in Germany after 1945, Allied soldiers flocked to brothels. Some were organized, others were improvised, but women were still the ones paying the price. Poverty-stricken and starving, many women had only one commodity left to exchange for: food, cigarettes, or safety. They did what they had to in order to survive, but society labeled them immoral, while the men walked away as heroes. The truth is, war gave men medals, but it gave women shame. One of the darkest truths was how sexual violence was systematically ignored. When the Red Army pushed westward in the final years of the war, countless German women were assaulted in their own homes. Historians estimate more than 2 million women were raped during the Soviet advance. And yet, this was spoken of only in whispers, dismissed as the spoils of victory. These women, too, carried their pain in silence, while history glorified the conquerors. Behind every statistic is a face. A girl who once dreamed of school, of marriage, of a life beyond survival. Instead, she was reduced to a number in a soldier's report. Many did not survive the war. Those who did often faced disease, infertility, broken families, and a society that blamed them rather than the men who used them. They became ghosts in their own towns, living reminders of shame no one wanted to acknowledge. And yet, in their silence lies their strength. Because even after unimaginable suffering, some of these women fought back. In the 1990s, former comfort women in Korea, China, and the Philippines began to speak out, demanding apologies and justice. They stood on stages, their voices trembling but unbroken, and told the world the truth that had been buried for half a century. They were not prostitutes. They were victims of war crimes, and they deserve recognition. Today, their stories are still controversial. Some governments deny responsibility. Some history books mention them only in passing. But their testimony continues to echo, reminding us that war is not only fought with bombs and bullets, it is also fought on the bodies of the vulnerable. And unless we listen, unless we remember, history will repeat itself. So the next time you hear tales of World War II glory, remember this. For every medal of honor pinned on a soldier's chest, there was a woman somewhere nameless, faceless, paying the hidden cost of that war. They fought no battles, but they bore the deepest scars. And their truth, the dark truth of prostitution in World War II, is a truth we cannot afford to forget. Because silence, history has proven, is the greatest enemy of justice. And that was a hidden truth, the side of World War II the history books chose to forget. If this story moved you, don't let it vanish into silence. Share it. Subscribe for more Untold history, and together, let's give voice to those the world tried to erase.